Hi everyone, today let's talk about resale condo versus new launch condo. And we're going to study a real example right here in Tampines West with the recent new launch primary residence at Tampines West MRT versus the Street 86, the condo corridor that houses mainly all the private condos in Tampines West. But importantly, this is not about which is better, it's about which fits your strategy better as a buyer. Okay, let's break it down. First, how will these new launches affect the surrounding resale condo? Let's start with the basic. Looking at the specs and details, we compare binary residence and nearby resale condos with about 85 years or more balance lease. I added Resale EC for everybody to see, to show everybody how the EC will be the clear-cut winner. And if you look at the pricing, and definitely after MOP, their pricing and based on their gain is gonna be potentially very high. But being an EC, eligibility becomes a key restriction. If your household income exceeds 6,000, you don't qualify. So that is why some people will definitely have to look at private condos if they choose to upgrade. Okay, primary 3-bedroom pricing is about 2.22 million, 861 square feet. Because of harmonization, the size is about equivalent to the older condos at 915, 926, 936 square feet. So the transacted price for 10th floor unit was about 2,584 PSF. So that was the price they paid. And then we look at some of the past transactions in April or the last few months for Treasure Condo, Tapestry, Alps, Santorini, and Cube. And the number of lease balance you can see from the chart: 91, 90, 88, 86, 85. So those transacted prices are ranging from 1.4 million to 1.65 million. Before this pricing, what we do is we use 5% annualized, meaning to say 5% increase every year for 4 years. And why 4 years? Because that is the time where you clear your seller stamp duty and you are able to sell your unit. So back to the chart again, after 4 years, you will see the price growth from 2.2 for Binary to 2.7 for Treasure, 1.6 to 2, Tampines Tapestry, 1.6 to 1.98. And then you can see the profit from there, the projected profit. Naturally, Binary residence shows the highest profit. Why? Because the entry price is higher by about 600 to 800. So percentage based on 2.2 is definitely going to be higher than the rest. So with the projected price after 5% annualized for 4 years, we reverse engineer and we work out the PSF to sell. So looking at the PSF to sell in 4 years, in order to achieve that 5% annualized 4 years, you will need to sell your primary 3-bedroom at 3141 PSF. And then the rest also increase. But the thing to note is the price gap actually became wider. Now let's talk about the big question. In 4 years, to achieve 5% annualized gain, a buyer of primary would need to sell at 2.7 million. So what's the value proposition? You get more than 90 years lease, MRT at your doorstep, integrated mall convenience. But at around 3,001 PSF, would you buy it? Now if we compare to resale condos, where similar size 3-bedrooms units could be around 1.7, 1.9 million, yes, they may not have direct MRT access or integrated developments, but at 1.7 million, it still looks relatively reasonable. But of course, the trade-off is that this condo may be approaching the 20-year mark by then. So as a buyer, it really comes down to what price you are willing to pay. If you've been priced out of a close to 3 million new launch, would you consider resale? Personally, I would. And here's another angle. If you can afford 2.7 to 3 million, you might even consider buying 2 resale units, one for own stay, one for rental. Because the price gap is so much different. Now the big question, will this price gap close? If new launches are projected to grow, wouldn't resale condo also attract more demand and eventually narrow the gap and push prices upwards? In fact, we are already seeing some resale listing in the area pushing towards 1,006 to 1,007. Supply in Tampines, particularly in Tampines West, there is no immediate new launch in the pipeline after this. That means future demands will spill over into resale condos. especially for buyers looking to stay within 1 km of St. Hilda's or people who simply like the Tampines area. Personally, doing a side-by-side comparison like this makes analyzing much clearer. We can't guarantee that prices will move exactly as projected, but based on current data, the outlook does look promising. So what's the conclusion here? It's not that new launch is better or resale is better. It really comes down to what kind of buyer you are. If you are someone who value newer project, MRT at your doorstep, longer lease, then pioneering residence will definitely make sense to you. But if you are more price sensitive and you're looking at lower entry price, better quantum flexibility, or even the option to own multiple properties, then resale condos will start to look very attractive. And personally, I feel this current price gap is something that buyers should pay attention to. Because if new launch continue to move up, resale prices may not stay where they are today. There is an older condo in the area, Tropica, that was not selling for very high. But with the increase of Waterview, Q-Bay and the whole stretch, even their prices managed to push up to 1,200 for 20-over-year-old development. So the real question is, are you buying based on today's price or positioning yourself for the next move in the market? If you are currently deciding between resale and new launch and want to run the numbers based on your own situation, feel free to reach out. I will walk through it step by step.